Hey everyone, this is CvBrony. I wanted to create this video to let people know what is going on with my hands. People who have been following me for a long time know that this has been a long drama. People who are new may not necessarily know exactly what's going on. And if you are new, well, first of all, thank you for following me. I'm glad you love my story. But yeah, my hands. It's kind of a long story. A while back, I started noticing that while typing, my hands would start to hurt. In particular, it'd be my wrists and fingertips. And the more I typed, the worse it got. A couple of points, I took a very big break from doing anything typing. And the hope was that would make what looked like a repetitive strain injury fade away and things would go back to normal. Obviously, that did not happen. I have a very good doctor here who's coordinating everything with me. And for the past, few years since I've been up here, I've been through just about every test, poke, and prod that they can give me for this kind of thing. The first things I did, of course, was get extensive nerve conduction surveys done, and those were all negative. I've had blood work done to test for things like arthritis, negative. I've been to at least half a dozen different specialists, and I still don't have any pathology to tell me what exactly it is that's happening. My doctor is running with the theory that this is psychosomatic, which means that my brain is perceiving this pain even though there's no damage. And understand that when you have psychosomatic pain like that, it feels real. There is no difference in feeling from something that is a real injury and something that is psychosomatic. I'm not going to say this is an impossibility. I've been struggling with depression lately because of this, and it could be a real thing. This could be a big thing in my head, but 99% of me doubts that. I think it has something to do with the soft tissues in my fingers primarily. And one of the big reasons I think that is that my wrists are more or less better now. I can still hurt them. There are certain activities that will cause them to hurt again, but the pain goes away from that pretty quickly. My fingertips are a different story. From about the middle of the finger on down to the tip, as I type, the pain starts to build, and it's in all 5 fingers, so it's not just the median nerve that's doing this. And for those of you who don't know, the median nerve is the primary nerve that they're concerned about with things like carpal tunnel syndrome, which again I'm negative for, but it runs down the center of your arm and through your wrist and is responsible for sensation in about the middle of 3 of your fingers. But I get this all over, so it even affects me when I'm doing normal like pencil and paper writing. My hands will get pretty badly cramped up very quickly. So not even that is an option. What I've been doing for writing then is I've been using a tablet with a swipe keyboard. I tried doing voice, but you can probably already hear it. Whenever I'm talking to the computer, I'm enunciating like this, my throat gets pretty sore pretty quick. It's just not a practical thing to use voice to do dictation to my computer for me. Just not going to work. But my tablet, that works. It's not very fast, and there's still a pretty good limit on to how much I can do in a day. After about 2,000 words or so, my fingers are still hurting from that, but 2,000 words in a day is still a pretty darn good pace for writing. I don't always get that far, but it's possible. So what I do is I have the tablet and I use the Swift key keyboard. And it's similar to swipe in that you glide your finger over the tablet from one spot to another, changing direction on each letter that you want, and it figures out the word you're meaning. And that has proven so far to be the most effective way for me to do this. Unfortunately, it's too slow and too limiting to do things like do the 5,000 plus words a day I was doing before this started, or even go into a job and the field I was trained for, which was computer science. There's just no way I'm going to be able to sit at a computer all day and bang out lines of code. It's not happening. So yeah, that's about where I am right now. Each day I try to get at least a little bit done. I like to set a goal for 2,000, and I usually get really angry at myself if I don't even hit one. Some days are just too nuts though, but yeah, so I am still pursuing this. My doctor and I are still, trying to manage this and get the breakthrough that we need in order to get a real concrete diagnosis and treatment plan. As for other things, well, you've probably read in my author's notes about all the kinds of crazy stuff that I've had happen to me. I hit 29 and kind of started falling apart. I had an appendectomy, cholecystectomy, which is removal of the gallbladder, and then a thyroidectomy for thyroid cancer, all in the span of about a year and a half. And cancer is one of those things where even if it's gone in the scans, it can always come back. So it's always that stress in your mind. Fortunately, the other two things, appendix, gallbladder, they're gone. They shouldn't bother me again. The cancer, still always a stressor. A little while ago, we thought it was back, but it looks like it's not. I'm hoping that's the case. I don't want to have to deal with that ever again. Anyway, yeah, I'm starting to get a bit better organized, especially now that the weather's cooled off. When it gets hot, I'm pretty much useless. And hopefully I'll be able to get more writing done and get more other things, like more of these audio vlogs or blogs up, and my own website, among other things, going, so that you guys get more content from me. Even if I can only write 1,000 to 2,000 words, I can always take 10, 15 minutes and do one of these. Or I can maybe make just a blog day, where instead of writing in the main rights or my books, I can create a blog post. Occasionally, hopefully in the future, you might even see me streaming games. Right now, that's not quite possible due to the limits on my bandwidth, but we're looking at hopefully lifting that in the near future. Certain games I can play for a good long while, others not so much. Like, I used to play Battlefield all the time, but that's a relatively fast Twitch game where I have to make a lot of mouse movements and a lot of different keyboard movements in rapid succession. And that makes my hands hurt pretty quick, and if my hands don't start hurting quickly, then my wrists certainly will. And Mass Effect Andromeda, though I love it, can have some of this effect too, especially in the higher difficulty settings. Lower difficulty settings, it's not so stressful, and I can play it for a while longer. The main game I've been playing lately is Star Trek Online, and that's slow enough that I can play for a good few hours before things start to hurt. It inevitably will if I keep at it for too long, but there's fewer key presses, fewer fast mouse movements, so I can play that, and it really does help me relieve the stress from all this BS, and it gives me a few more spoons for the rest of the day. If you don't know what spoons refers to, take a look it up online. I forget the exact name of the essay or comic or whatever it originated as, but the essential thing is you only have so many spoons you can deal with in a day, especially when you're plagued with health issues and other things like that. And each action you do, you know, some people, something as simple as getting up, that can take a lot of their spoons away. And once you're done, you become physically or mentally exhausted beyond the ability to continue for the day. But yeah, I forget who it was that did that. I might have a link below in the description or something to the original. But yeah, it's when I read that, it really crystallized a lot of the issues that I've been going through day to day and why it's so hard. It helped define certain things in my mind about what I'm going through and how to approach it. Well, that's about all I have for this one. Let me know if you want me to do more of these in the future. These are, to me, I think, a little bit easier to do than creating a long blog post, which again takes up words from writing in rights in my books. And one of the big advantages, I'm just speaking into the microphone. I'm not doing any editing on this, obviously. Philip DeFranco and some other guys are very, very slick with their editing. I don't really know how to do that, and doing that would probably, again, take up some stamina from my hands and wrists. So I'm just recording this, no editing. You get all my ums and ands and uhs, and I put it out there. So, yeah, that's about it for this one. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you next time.
Forces are